All righty. Thanks everybody for joining today. I'm going to pass it to Sean to kick things off.
All right, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. I'm Sean Devine, the founder and CEO of XBE. Welcome to our Meet Agent XBE open house. I've been told that by people that either I sound like I have a cold or I don't. I feel like I don't. I think I sound like I do. I'm going to keep my comments short so you can get past my nasal self and on to the good stuff from Kayla. But let me start just with a few comments about Agent XBE. All right. So I think that we all know what scarcity is like, not having enough visibility, not having enough people that to do the work, or not having the right people to do the sorts of work that we need, not having enough time to do things the right way on all sorts of tasks, from the most mundane to the most strategic. Caleb. And with Agent XBE, we're introducing what we call the super workforce that flips that on its head. Instead of worrying if you've got enough capacity, enough knowledge, enough capability to get a given type of work done, again, whether that's pretty tactical or something quite strategic, you just give it an outcome and it'll figure out how to get that done. It owns the work all the way to completion. It reasons through the steps, even if it's never done this particular type of task before it executes across all of the systems that matter, and it figures out what to do. If it ever needs help, it'll ask. But for most tasks, you'll find that it can sort through the details. Kayla's going to show a lot of examples of this that sort of prove the point, but set your expectations, I think, accordingly. Next. All right, so a little bit about what how Agent XP is architected, and I'm actually just going to skip this slide mainly. There's Agent XP. You're going to see through Kayla. It's connected to all the systems. It can do great stuff. And what kind of great stuff? Well, the sorts of problems really that span all facets of the type of work that your organization's doing, from questions that come up in executive meetings to moment day-to-day tasks in dispatch, to questions or tasks out in the field, and so on and so forth. So, again, Kayla's going to walk through some examples, but if you've got in your mind that Agent XP is probably good for research, or probably good for, taking clerical action, or probably good for automating complex steps that require reasoning, the answer is, yes to all of those. Next.
I think it's my turn now. All
Right.
right.
Before you jump in, I will say, if you guys have questions as we go through, or comments, jokes, whether it's, can the agent do this thing? Where did it come from? Questions about security or infrastructure. Any questions that you have, throw them in the question chat on the right here, and we're going to go through those live throughout the demo. So starting now, start populating your questions that you came in with, things that you want to see, or as we're going, populate it, and we'll filter throughout the presentation.
We've done one of these before, and that ended up being a really valuable part of that experience. We probably got, I don't know, 100, 150 comments and questions throughout. And they were some combination of fun and interesting and important. And plus, while Kayla gives the demo, there will be some seconds in between this and that, and we'll fill the time either with banter between Grant and I, or hopefully answers to your questions.
Yeah, the latter definitely being better than the former.
Right.
All right, cool. First, to start off, I wanted to ask Agent XBE who they are and what they can do. Sean hit on this a bit, but to give you more contextual around Agent XBE and what's possible with the super workforce. The agent understands your business, your context, and nuances. When you're looking at things like scheduling for tomorrow or what's going on in the day, the agent can view all of the data. With the ability to sit on top of the XBE platform and additional integrations, your folks from in the field to the dispatch team can be connected along with folks in the back office or at the executive table. Things like being able to create and update jobs in real time, have the ability to pull reports and also look at and create incidents that are in the system. Those sorts of things, as I go through my demo, you actually will see that live. In addition to not only tracking in the field, it can look at your equipment, see where it is location-wise. On top of that, it can look at materials and inventory. So end-to-end of what's coordinated in the XBE platforms is available for the agent to interact with. To start us out, I'm going to ask the agent what production plans are scheduled for tomorrow. Agent XBE has voice to text. So if your folks are in the field or like me and just bad at typing, you can use voice to text to interact with the agent. You'll see as it starts to run, it'll reason with you. You can get a little behind the scenes of what it's looking at. Once the response is back, it's interactive. So if you have a secondary question that comes up, you can interact back and forth with the agent and it'll do the work and respond back. So very conversational. Think of it as if you have an employee next to you that you're asking all those day-to-day questions with. Grant, are there any questions so far?
No, I have to, it's not popular to say you're disappointed in the audience, but I'm disappointed in the audience. No,
Usually,
no questions.
usually Grant just makes up the audience questions in this moment. I think this is growth.
Terry Sullivan, I'm taking Terry. That's a thumbs down to no questions, and not a thumbs down to me giving you a hard time about no questions.
You'll also see as it finishes there, it has a nice pop-up to let you know the work is complete. I turned this off, but it also will have a nice sound notification for you too. So if you're jumping to another agent session or just going to check your email, Agent XBE will notify you when it's done. So let's look at what Go ahead.
Hey, while you say that, because we won't have another opportunity, there's also a setting you can turn on where if you're using another app like your email or Slack or whatever it is, you'll get the notification in the operating system. That's that annoying, like, do you want this website to notify you that you always want to turn off? Like, here's one time that I actually have turned it on and find it pretty handy.
Let's look at the output. So I can see that I have 2 jobs scheduled for tomorrow, March 12th, where I see a summary of the job details. I can see the status of the job, start times, and quantity information, amongst other things as well. So let's say I'm a superintendent and I want to up the quantity. Can you up the quantity on the Madison Lincoln Mall paving job from 1,500 tons to 2,000 tons?
All this time you've been blaming your typing, and now we know there's other things going on.
It is both.
So first question came in here asking about permission settings. So what are you allowed to do? So the way the Agent XBE works is it sits on top of the permission structures that exist for your user in XBE. So if you're a operations manager at a customer, the things that you're allowed to see and do in the system, that's what Agent XBE will see and do for you. If you have a manager or an admin membership, it rides on top of that. In addition, we have the ability to have read-only mode for users as well. So it only allows what you as a user within the native platform can do or see.
One of the nice things about the voice to text and the agent is that you can see when I said Madison, it didn't hear it in the same way that the job is spelled in the system. And when it was pulling the correct job, it actually says, I believe you're referring to this one. In that instance, that was the correct one. And, it updated the job production plan itself. Then I asked it, can you link me the job production plan? So as you're not only modifying a job or a job production plan, maybe you want to see a specific incident or, any resource in the platform, you can ask it to provide you a direct link back and have access to that in the system, especially in this case where, we're making changes. The user may want to go and verify.
Sean, you're on mute.
A fun, thank you. A fun story on the origin of this. Grant showed me how he was using Agent XB, and his prompt had a whole like narrative. He was like, "Well, you know how on this screen this is true," and then I went and clicked this, and he was describing the client application that XB has. And at the time, Agent XB didn't actually understand everything about what the person may be seeing on their screen, and somehow it figured it out anyways. And so, inspired by that, we actually have now taught Agent XB all about the client app. So it knows links, like in the example that Kayla said, it can link you to anything that it's talking about, which is a pretty amazing feature. And also, if you describe like something you're seeing in the vernacular that the app uses, it understands that and can link it to how to get the work done itself, which is pretty great.
So another question coming in here, can the agent create a plan from scratch?
So the answer is literally yes. I think that generally speaking, it's probably not the right way to create a plan from scratch, just in that, hey, a plan has the plan, the materials, potentially the segments, it may have alarms, it may have locations, it may have attachments, it's got shifts, there's a lot going on in a plan. And describing all of that from scratch, I think could be fairly difficult to get right. The agent can do it. I mean, I think that for the user, describing it from scratch could be challenging. What I think is not challenging, and again, agent can do either way, but what I think I would do in general is have templates to duplicate from, or to say, let's clone a given day onto a different day and then say what you want adjusted. I think that that's practically speaking the right way to do it. That would be fast and not subject to error. But again, the agent can do either one.
Another way that I've seen people do that now is to quick add a order or a job production plan to the schedule in an editing status, and then notify somebody who has all of the details to go back and fill it in at the larger details. So as a placeholder, you're communicating with someone in the field, or you have a customer call in. It's very easy to make an order and then have it in editing status, and then to Sean's point, go and fill in with the details later. So very simple to capture. Kelly, you want to walk us through a couple of the things you've been doing while we've been chatting?
Yeah, of course. So on that same job that I changed the quantity on, I also wanted to update the start time from 6 to 6:30. I went through and did that. On top of that, I want to communicate the reason behind the change as well. So I asked it to create then a rain delay incident in the platform. I also want to send a broadcast message to the team. So I was mid-typing that out, and I'm going to stop typing actually and just do voice to text now that I'm speaking, if I get the timing right on that. Can you create a broadcast message and send it to all subscribers on the job production plan to notify them of the weather incident?
Kayla's got voice to text voice.
Yeah, I even lean forward for some reason. I don't know if it's my belief that if I'm closer to the speaker, it will better understand me, but I don't know, it's something.
I like that you give the courtesy to the computer.
I'm a courteous person, what can I say?
So as you did that one, we actually had a question come in that is eerily similar, so well orchestrated. But Kayla, why don't you field this one? when you ask the system to notify, how can it notify different users?
That's a great question. So the notification process is done a couple different ways, so text message or email. XBE has a subscription for several things: projects, jobs on the day-to-day, incident subscribers. So in this case here, it's looking at the job and the subscriptions that are related to the job and generating the notification. Now, secondary to that, it'll look at every user and say, do they prefer to be notified via text or email, and then send that out accordingly.
In addition to that, you can guide it explicitly to do any of those actions. So let's say you're using the agent. Yeah, here we go. And you want to send somebody directly, maybe the chat history that you've had, or a report that you generated, or let them know individually of something. It can directly do that on command as well.
Any other questions so far?
There are two different ways, and I don't. We'll see which way it's done here, but XBE can send the notification through the system to anyone that's a user. And if you are connected to your email system, and Kayla may be, which is why I said I'm not sure which way it's going to go here, but if you're connected to your own, in our case, like Google Workspace account, it can also send emails via Gmail in that case to recipients. So both are possible.
Oh, Grant, you're not in XBE, I guess.
Well, you know why?
I know the underlying reason. I'm logged in as my demo account, and Grant is not in that environment.
Hey, that's a feature, not a bug. So Kayla's, mentioned someone that this account doesn't have visibility to, so it didn't know what to do.
Is this the time where in public I got notified that I got cut from the team? Like we all found out together.
Hey, it's awkward no matter what,
This is weird, guys.
So changing gears a bit here, instead of focusing on the job production plan and updating quantities and everything else that we just described, I want to see if there are any pieces of equipment. XBE does have the ability to hold your equipment availability. So I'm curious to see if there are any unavailable, as I would be going through my schedule and making assignments and equipment movements. So I can see that there's one dozer that's unavailable, that's in the shop for maintenance. It's unavailable from the 10th until the 13th. And then it also asks follow-up questions as well. So do you want more details, or do you need to make any changes to that? I actually do want to go ahead, and I'll pause here and type it out while you have something to say, Grant.
Yeah, great. So Sean, I think this is a good one for you. There's been a couple of questions about Agent XBE interacting with different features and functions in BCMI. For instance, there's been several enthusiastic questions about interaction between Agent XBE and All22. Can you discuss kind of where we're at on that and what that looks like?
So two things. So first, in the relatively near term, there will be total parity between what Agent XBE can do in XBE and what it can do in BCMI. And we're not quite done with that yet, but I think everyone can see the pace at which we are developing these capabilities, and we know how to get it done and are just working through that right now. Now, as it relates to All22, the answer is a little bit more than that, which is that All22 itself has Agent XBE embedded into it and is incredible at answering questions about itself right now. And so that, if you're using All22, that's a feature that already works. It is great. I mean, I don't know if for those that are on, if you've got All22, the chat on the right side, you can ask about the screen. It will highlight what it's talking about, sort of point out what to do. You can drag and drop orders into the Agent XB chat, and it will answer about them. I know that wasn't exactly the question, but so in the near term, we'll have both, Agent XB in All22, which is currently true, and then BCMI in overall in Agent XBE.
So here's another one that came through that's related to the notifications piece, and just about, can Agent XBE send information or have the system send information to people who aren't internally subscribed? And back to Sean's point earlier, Agent XBE is built to integrate with your other systems for communication. So again, Sean gave, for instance, for our company, we use Google Suite. So Agent XBE can integrate with your email server to then send the communications via your email. So if you want to or need to notify or send something, or you want to share something to someone who doesn't have a membership within the platform, that gives you a mechanism to then create, generate, and push those communications.
Great. Next up, while we were having a discussion, actually,
I need to stop because this is the most important question. This is really a comment, but I needed a personal win today. I got a hair compliment. Jake at Carew said my hair looks great today. I'm losing a lot of my hair. Oh, Terry Sullivan, get out of here with your thumbs down. We're taking a moment to take a hair win today.
How come I can't see who gives the thumbs down?
Oh, I can. Terry Sullivan thumbs downed it. I'm letting everyone know. Back to the regular scheduled programming.
So as we were having that last bit of conversation, I asked the agent to change the availability of the pieces of equipment. So just to back up, there were 2 pieces that were unavailable. I said, hey, can you switch the dozer, mark it as available, in which it did that. Changing gears here, I want to know how a job is going out in the field today. So here I asked it to take a look at the Madison job again and make recommendations based on the performance. The job is pretty close to the end, but I want to see what's going on. So here we have an analysis of the job. So I can see our plan and our goal. Wanted to do 1,500 tons over 7 hours. My plan rate was 200. Right now I'm sitting at 214. You can see my shift window along with the total number of trucks and the material. So far we have just above 1,200 tons delivered. You can see completed loads, remaining tonnage. Gives a nice hourly breakdown along with the time remaining. So let's get to the fun stuff. On the recommendation side, I like that it scratched it out. But the plan will likely fall short by 11 loads. It noticed that production is slowed in the last hour, so it dropped from 200 to 125. It says, hey, it would be worth checking if there's a bottleneck, and calls out some things that may cause that. It also says if we can't go longer today, we're running the same job tomorrow, so we could plan to, make up those quantities. And then it says if you are able, the remaining quantity, you could just go on longer today. And then it actually asks as a follow-up, do you want me to extend the shift in time, make adjustments, or take any other action? Now I'm going to say I want to look at the performance of the trucks on the shift. Can you give me a summary?
Trucks on the shift, did you mean that literally?
On the job, no.
Oh, it's probably going to figure it out, but what since you showed sympathy for the robot and leaning in earlier, I figured I'd do the same.
Well, now I'm not leaning in, so that's probably why.
So while you're finishing that up, there's been kind of quite a few comments around QC and documenting QC and QC incidents, QC results, and impacts on QC. Sean, could you talk about capturing QC details, test results, either in notes, attachments, incidents, their relationship to projects, how they can be mined for information or pulled to see, what happened on what day. Can you talk us through some of that?
Sure. So, I mean, beyond what Kayla has shown already, well, for one, Agent XBE knows how to do literally 100% of what is supported by XBE. And so, you can see that she's sort of bopping and weaving through various features, and that's because they're all supported. So there's really no concern that any given one won't be. That includes, incidents, material transactions, the other features related to quality. One thing she hasn't shown yet, and I believe will be shown soon, is attachments. So in addition to typing or talking, you can also upload images, files, documents, etc., that both Agent XB can reference, right? It can read them and reason about them, and also it can attach to other things. So, for example, if there's a incident that you want to attach a PDF of a report, that you can upload it, and it will in the system actually do that work.
I actually did that earlier. I have a spreadsheet that's not, I wanted to make it look nicer and put it in Agent XBE, and the output was quite fantastic. And a lot of our team members have been leveraging the tool internally on all things that we do, and putting attachments in and getting better stuff out has been really helpful and handy.
So I'm telling myself the ugly spreadsheet that was uploaded to make it pretty, I made the ugly one. I will take full responsibility for that.
Yeah.
Really, really great question. Shout out to Chris Kenny. So two-part question. One, can you ask Agent XBE to populate an operational dashboard? And I'm going to edit that to be populate/create a custom operational dashboard. And then two, if yes, can you automate so the dashboard can be sent on a schedule or a frequency to a set group of people? So this is talking about creating bespoke reports and dashboards, whether they're interactive or not, and then scheduling the creation of them, updating and sharing of them.
So two things. So first, yes, Agent XB can do, it can design and implement dashboards in whatever form you'd like, whether that's an HTML page you open in a web browser, or in a PDF that's pretty and that gets emailed out, or in the answer that it provides itself, and or some combination thereof. So yes on that, and it's exceptionally good at that work. In addition to having sort of access to the underlying low-level information, it also has access to dozens of analytical tools on top that make it performant to get at that data for the purpose of dashboarding either aggregate information or exceptions. On the point about can you then have it sent, so yes, Agent XB can send notifications to users and can attach files to those. If you wanted it to be a PDF or HTML file or whatever else, it can attach the files. And lastly, if you wanted to do that on a schedule, I believe Kayla's going to show both of these. You can also have it do work recurrently. So you can say every Friday at 8 a.m. do the following, and it will do so. So yes to all of that, and really it's quite good at all of that.
Kayla, I know you have a HTML example for I believe late start analysis. Given that last question, while it's working on this, it might be fun just to flip over and show what that can look like.
Yeah, for sure. I'll do that. I'm just going to finish up this one on that note of Sean asking to schedule tasks. I'll just add that question now, and then I'll switch over. So I just wanted to say, schedule a task every day at 4 p.m. and send me a notification of all the job production plans that have been submitted for me to review and approved, as one of many examples of scheduled tasks. A lot of my conversations with folks that are currently using Agent XBE has been around, like looking at time cards every day and approving those, looking at tickets and having the agent call out exceptions when somebody needs to look at the tickets. So that's scheduling tasks. Now, what Grant was talking about is here. So this is an analysis we did with an existing customer. So in order to protect their data and security, I asked the agent just to Greek everything out here. But in this particular instance, it's showing how Agent XBE can create, I wouldn't really call this one itself a dashboard, but a very professional, good-looking analysis on data. So in this instance, we wanted to look at both aggregate and cement haulers. We asked the agent to throw out some known outliers, and we want to see where opportunity lies in either improving rates or maybe changing some haulers that they hire. We focused on a period of time from July to November of 2025. So here, as we get into the output, you can see a nice summary of the total quantity that is covered in this analysis, the average cost per ton as it relates to aggregate materials and cementitious materials, and the savings potential. So we're going to dive in a bit and see what the analysis came up with. Starting off, it called out, hey, here's the things that I'm excluding, and then built a nice table analyzing all of their carriers that they used in that time frame of that 3 months, along with the cost per ton. What was cool here is it actually put it in the most expensive down to the most cost efficient haulers as well, called out how much material they moved, calculated their cost per hour, cycle, and travel time. And then it did the same thing on the cement side. On top of that data set, it also pulled out some monthly cost trends. Going down below, it actually analyzed each respective lane. So this is a customer that's a producer. They're managing all of their ag and cement in the XBE platform. The XBE platform knows, hey, you're going from supplier location to plant A, B, C, however many plants. And for each lane broke down by hauler, essentially who is the most efficient and most expensive, just so that they could take a look and see where savings are. Outside of this, if we get down, I'm going to scroll here a bit, it actually also came up with recommendations. So it said, hey, take a look at your internal fleet rates as it's consistently a little bit above. It also called out maybe shifting some volume and shifting volume from one carrier to the other. Yeah, that was that one.
Great.
Any questions or comments?
No, I thought that's a great example. Sean, this is getting into kind of another all 22 integration opportunity. Can Agent XBE help my dispatch team create a schedule for the day? And then onto our second and third round turns based on the closest plant. What could this look like?
Yeah, I mean that's really the goal of all 22, or squarely in the bullseye of the goal of all 22 uh, is to both analyze the sort of simulate what the day would be and optimize the correct timing of each truck start and the assignment of tickets to trucks, not just the first one, but throughout the full day, and to execute that in BCMI. So as I mentioned before, sort of we'll have BCMI in Agent XB and also Agent XB in all 22, so that you don't just get sort of smart calculations on what to do, but that the actions can be taken automatically on your behalf.
Awesome. So I flip back over to the agent here. You guys can now see the last prompt I did was around scheduling that tasks. It not only scheduled that, but also gave me a preview of what that will look like. So it's going to start today at 4 p.m. Central Time. It's going to check for submitted job production plans and then send me an email notification with the details so I can review and approve it. Your task can be set up to send not only to me, but to others within your org, just as we've been talking about. I know we've talked through this, but I wanted to put it into the agent just to show. So this is an example of the file creation. So this can be very handy as you're doing things like cleaning up materials, adding mix designs, wanting to do, just general data cleanup in the system with users. You may want to pull that information out and use the agent to make modifications when you're ready to put it back in. So in this instance, I said, just generate an Excel file of all of the memberships. You can see down below in my little chat here, there's a folder next to the add attachment. That is the file workspace. So as the agent is creating files for you, it'll show up there. And on the right here, you can download that file as well.
So, great question came in, asking a little bit about XBE, a little bit about the agent. For a ready mix producer specifically, do we have tooling that understands raw material inventory, raw material usage based on batches and future orders, and can the agent help schedule replenishment?
So yes, on all parts of that. So we have multiple cases now where we import orders from BCMI into XBE, sort of expanding that order into the raw material constituents based on the mix designs, not just for tickets that have already shipped, but also for the orders that are planned by time. We then convert that into the sort of moment by moment material drawdown that is expected. Uh, and so therefore the replenishment requirement that's needed. And from there, Agent XB can both understand that information as well as schedule the actual dispatches so that whatever your policy is on replenishment, let's say it was just something sort of straightforward, like, keep the silos full, that it could then take that information, again, the projected material consumption over time, and dispatch or generate the job production plans with the ships that replenish that material. Interestingly, on that point, then the inventory forecast would take into account not only the projected drawdown of material off of orders, but also the projected inbound material flow into the plants. So yes, on all of it. I mean, our mission inside of 2026 is to go completely lights out on that, so that a ready mix producer could just issue its policy about how the system should keep raw materials in inventory, and that it will handle every aspect of what's required to do so.
I won't read through this because Sean did a really great job recapping, but it does show that the agent has the knowledge on XBE and all that's capable. So not only what the end user is explicitly stating, right, as I've been showing, but if you have somebody that has never been in the XBE platform before and you give them Agent XBE access and they just start asking questions, the agent will look at the full book of knowledge and help out. This is actually a little bit embarrassing, but I didn't give an introduction. And we're 40 minutes in, but I've been with XBE for I'm in year 7 now, and a lot of my time here has been on the customer success team leading implementations. And I'll be the first one to say it, definitely not the last. Training can be hard. So having a tool that can work along your people as they're learning new technology and getting new capabilities, that knows not only your business, but all the ins and out of what it sits on top of, definitely makes things smoother and faster for that person as well.
I mean, I'm gonna be spending my next bit of time today and some tomorrow with one of our large customers, just doing an annual meeting, which they do some training refreshes and some strategic topics. And this year, every single topic that we're going over is going to end in and also you can just do it using the agent. So like all of the things that from foremen to plant managers to logistics managers, like all of the content that normally in an implementation or training or refresher, like at the end of every topic is, and by the way, here's the easy button to do it fast, efficient, and securely via the agent.
This is fun.
It even accurately said what we didn't have done yet that I said we were working on, which is fun.
That is fun. And it, because we were talking about scheduling tasks, said I can set up a scheduled task every day that checks your inventory against the thresholds and sends you a notification when it's projected to fall below the minimum. So that's pretty fun.
A quick point on that. So, Agent XP is an amazing way to get work done that no one's ever attempted before, or there's not a feature yet, or you don't know how. But sometimes, hey, it's just better to have a grooved feature either in the client app or a background job. And so what Agent XP does is it studies itself and studies every conversation that it has to ask the question, like, is there a missing tool in the overall XP platform that even if I could get this done the hard way, if I had a tool, it would be a lot more efficient. And it automatically spots those and then sort of promotes the idea of like, hey, it would be really helpful to add a special purpose tool that would make this, again, more reliable, faster, cheaper, etc. And the amazing part about that is that it just ends up improving itself over time.
Sean, there's been quite a few questions that have come in about people wondering how to move forward with Agent XBE now and not with current XBE platform products. So is Agent XBE available for folks to purchase and use on other systems at current? Is how I
By other
boil
systems,
those.
you mean by other systems, you mean current BCMI customers?
I'm getting both current BCMI customers and non-customers of BCMI or XBE wondering, can they get Agent XBE and plug it into their ERP or
Yeah.
Microsoft Project or their QC software?
Yeah, so we are focused on the sort of the broader XBE community. So that's XBE, BCMI, Gauge customers, and PriceBee, the companies we've brought together. Um, so I guess my comment, if you're not part of that community, please join because things get better every day, and they're already quite great. On the question about external systems, one thing that XP has been really great at for its entire history is integration. We integrate with many, many hundreds of systems, whether those are ERP or ticketing or batch or estimating, quoting, etc. Systems. And because we've got all of that history and experience, we're real comfortable doing the work that's required in order to enable the capabilities that your organization needs to connect to its key systems that aren't provided by XBE. Kaylee gave a couple of those examples, with our integration with Google. And for example, we have an integration for our development team into GitHub so that Agent XP actually understands its own code. It can do some work related to that. But it's also true for all the systems that I mentioned a minute ago. And part of what we provide is not just that Agent XP knows how to use all of our tools effectively, but that we also will do whatever is required in order to give it access to yours in a way that matches the security model of your organization.
Thanks, Sean. The last one I ran is around release notes. So as Sean has mentioned, we're actively adding new things. Agent XBE will document release notes and share it with those in the community that have access to the agent as well, which is very handy, especially as things get released and the speed at which they are. Which brings me to one thing just from a user interface standpoint that I didn't mention. All of your chats are saved and on the side here. So there's a chat bar that you can expand and go back to chats if you want to. Couple other things that are really, in my opinion, cool is you can take when you're done with the chat, you can say, hey, summarize this and send it to somebody. So if you want to share chats with folks. And then I
A
know
quick
that,
comment, Caleb, before you move on from this screen
yeah.
about these release notes that I think is powerful is uh, as of yesterday, Agent XP actually completely does all of the work to publish its own release notes. And we did that one because it's pain to keep up with. But I think even more than that, it's a demonstration of just how powerful it is to give it real work. So in other words, we have one scheduled task that runs every morning at 7 a.m. and it automatically takes a look at every single bit of code that's shipped in all of the possible areas. And it looks through them and says, okay, which of these changes may be relevant to users? Do any of them bundle up into bigger features? Are, some of them small and don't require mention? And after it does that triage work, it sort of uh, puts those in a list for another version of Agent XP to go in or another instance that schedules a little later to go in and then draft the release notes in the standard format and publish them out. So everything that Keela's got on her screen right now, that was completely done by Agent XP without anyone intervening in any way. It has this job and it runs that job, or it performs that job automatically. Now imagine that, but for all the things that require sort of discretion and the kind of work that you can't just straight automate deterministically, but someone needs to reason through things. That's the kind of workload you can push onto Agent XP.
Thanks,
So
Sean.
there's been some categories of questions about how to use Agent XP that I'll go through real quick. So three major ways. One is on demand, like we're doing right now. You're in the agent, you're typing, you're talking, you're using it live. The second we covered in a couple of examples, which is scheduled. At a certain time, do this thing, run this report, take this action, notify this person. And then the last is event based, which is coming imminently. And Sean can comment on that if he wants. But that's like if a truck is at a pour for 50% longer than the estimated time, send a notification to the dispatch team. When a job exceeds its planned quantity by more than X, send a notification to the plant manager. Things like that. So event-based triggers. So on-demand, scheduled, and event-based are the three main ways to use Agent XBE.
Now, two comments on that. One is the events can originate from our system. And now we have communication related events, and that surface area will expand. Kayla hasn't showed, I don't know if Kayla's going to show this or not, but one thing that's really cool is in our Slack, if you mention Agent XBE in a thread, it will both do work in response to that request and then post back in Slack. So that's handy for us and all of our customers in the first place, but also sort of shows a sort of interaction plane that we think has a lot of potential, which is to do work in response to receiving messages from the outside. Now, obviously, that has to be pretty guarded in order to protect against, exploitation. And so, we're being slow about how to roll that out more broadly. But we've got this Slack integration for us that's working nicely, which shows a lot of promise and is already very useful, frankly, for us. Beyond that, I'll mention that it's great on a phone. And I don't know if Kayla, I don't know if we sort of plan on showing that or if we have a good way. But if you bring up agent.xb.com or launch it from the XB app on your phone, it's super on the phone. Like I use it every single day. The voice to text works great. It's all the formatting works nicely on the phone. Like it's really good on the phone. And so I mean that's not a different way to launch exactly, but I think the fact that it makes XB so easy to work with when you're out and about is fairly game changing.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on showing the phone functionality, but I'll add a comment of the folks in the XB community that have been using the agent in the last week. I've learned that they're using it most often on the phone than not, which I thought was, makes sense,
Yeah,
right?
I'm not surprised. I think I
Yeah.
probably am 50-50 on the phone.
Yeah. I have one last prompt that I wanted to run through. Another example of one that we did with a customer last week. This one is around analyzing late starts within their organization and seeing if there was any correlation between the planner of the job or the plant here. In the same way, it's all scrambled to protect the customer data, but real example. So it does a summary of the last quarter, all of their jobs, the percentage of late starts within their org, and those that are on time. Gives a nice distribution, a summary by material, and then breaks it down by plant. So calling out plants that have the most late starts versus those that are more timely. And it does the same by planner, then compares both the planner and the plant to see if there is any correlation. So I'm going to go down here to the findings. So after the analysis was ran, it says, hey, there are a couple plants that had late starts, high late starts, regardless of the planner. So after having this discussion with the team, they as a group said, okay, let's take what we got in terms of the planner correlation in the plant and see if there's anything really on the plant side that we can take away as lessons learned. So a way to surface some insights and finding, and then use that to empower your team to make better decisions and see if there's anything that can be improved.
Sean, here's one. Can Agent XB pull data from outside the system, weather, traffic, etc.? And it's not clear if this person's asking via an integration or just natively, so probably fun to answer it both ways.
So, and both are true. So, uh, first with sort of proper integrations, right? Like systems that are already working, it can use those. And right now, for example, we don't have a high-end weather capability that already is integrated, but that's the sort of thing that we'll add soon, along with all sorts of other similar skills like traffic, etc. Now, even if we don't have that skill now, if it's the kind of information that's available on the internet, Agent XP does have access to research on the internet. And so, really time sensitive information like traffic and weather may or may not be the right way to do that. I think it'd work. I think a sort of more proper sort of first class integration is probably slightly better. But as is true with most things in Agent XP, it'll kind of just sort it out. Like if you ask, like be prepared to be somewhat surprised as it figures out how to come up with a solution.
I mean, I gotta tell a quick story. We were out at Con Expo last week and saw quite a few of you that are on today. Uh, and someone from the National Asphalt Pavement Association came up to our booth. Long story short, they had been playing around with an AI tool that an equipment manufacturer was rolling out. And she said, I asked it, Johnny's having a heart attack on the paver. What should I do? And the agent spit back out, what part number for the valve were you looking for again? Which is kind of fun that at least it understood that heart attacks are related to hearts and hearts have valves. But to Sean's point, if it's not querying and looking
It was not.
within,
I don't know. I don't know why Grant is talking about a demo fail from another provider. That was not us, to be clear. And
yeah.
the strangest end. No, that was someone else. If you asked us, it'd be fine. Yeah, that's
I was about to land the plane on the other side of
it's
Discord, but thank you, John.
brutal fail. Yeah, this is actually a pretty good, a clever way to point out that Grant is more likely to fail during a demo than Agent XBE is, as
No,
evidenced by its performance in this meeting.
at least my hair looks good. So a couple questions about I'm interested. What should I do? So if you're not a part, someone just typed fight, fight, fight. I like it. So if you're not part of the current community, as Sean said, please reach out. We're going to be reaching out to everyone that attended the webinar today, whether they're part of the current community or not. So we'll be following up. If you are a part of the community on one of the product lines like BCMI that we haven't yet turned on the full integration, reach out to your customer success representative, your sales representative, Chris Wirtz, anyone on this call today, and we will make sure that you get plugged in as soon as possible.
A couple closing comments. Oh, go ahead, Kayla.
I can't believe you guys just let me say words and not let me know that I was muted. I was going to show the Slack integration.
Oh,
but I realized that I was muted. So I wanted to let the XBE team that is not on this call know that I'm saying hi live from the Agent XBE open house here. It actually called out, hey, Kayla, you didn't tell me which channel. So then I said, I want to post it in general.
Interestingly, on that point, if you as a customer user of XBE ask Agent XBE to post to Slack, it will by default just post to the Horizon channel that you interact with our customer success team through, which is awesome. It won't ask you; it would just know to do that. Now, interestingly, if Kayla replied to this message from Agent XBE and said, "Hey, Agent XBE, like, tell me something or other about what you've done today," it would then reply back. That's the kind of like interactive back and forth from sort of surfaces outside of Agent XBE capability that we think is pretty powerful. Well, I think as we prepare to finish, just a couple comments. We've been building on using artificial intelligence and machine learning for years now, and put out a lot of great features related to predicting this or that, or summarizing that or the other. And many of them have been great. But I think it should be pretty clear from Kayla's demo that this is in a different class of good, in that it's not sort of good at a particular thing, but fairly narrow. It's good at a massively wide and deep set of things that Kayla was able to live demo for a full hour on a whole variety of topics, not using pre-canned anything, and it all worked, and it worked quickly and dependably. I mean, hey, we're going to find places where things need improvement. That's always true, but Agent XB it's the first time where you can put meaningful general purpose workloads out there in a way like this that knows how to use the platform and connect with other systems. And the pace of improvement has been very quick and will continue to be quick. So to the question about like, what do I do? Now's the right time. Now's the right time to both work with us if you don't yet, or if you do already, to start working with Agent XB, knowing that in the coming weeks and months it will gain both great capabilities in the areas it's already integrated with, and also gain whole new platform abilities with BCMI and other external systems. So happy that you could come today, and we're excited to work with you on this in the near future.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.